DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Tell y'all something about feedback. I just came from this restaurant in Miami, and I ordered the chicken and waffles. Now, technically, I'm vegan, but I eat whatever I want especially on weekends. If I just decide I want to get something that's not vegan, I eat vegan. So I don't. So just in case any of y'all was going to ask that question. But anyway, I ordered the chicken and waffles. Whenever I see it on the menu somewhere, usually I'll try it just to see. I mean, if they do it justice. So I ordered this chicken and waffles. They bring me 2 plates. One plate has a piece of chicken, and the other plate has a waffle. And there's nothing. They didn't do anything to it. There's no artistry. They didn't do anything to integrate the waffles and the chicken together. It was just some lazy shit. It was like that shit shouldn't even been on the menu. Like, if that's all you're gonna do, you don't even put that on the menu, because somebody's gonna order it like I did, and then they're gonna look at that like, yo, this is what y'all bringing to the table. Like, what am I even paying for? I could have made this at the house for less than what I paid y'all for it. And then they're gonna talk shit about it, or they're never gonna come back to your restaurant, which is what's gonna happen in this situation. I'm not gonna come back to this restaurant. Now, they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything right either. And what's more, a lot of times when you go to a restaurant, y'all been to a restaurant before, usually the waiter or the waitress comes to your table and they'll say, all right, how was everything? How was your food? How'd you like it? Or the manager will come by, especially down here in Miami, where there's a lot of tourists and people are traveling, and tourism and people going out to eat and stuff like that is a huge part of the industry. The manager usually will walk by and they'll come to every table and be like, hey, how was everything? And they'll only be there for 10 seconds unless you say something, and then they keep it moving. But the manager never came by. They never asked. So the waiter never asked me how the food was. The manager never asked me how the food was. And I would have told them, because I even posted on my IG, yo, should I tell them that I ain't like the food, or should I just not say nothing to keep it moving? I don't even know what people voted, but they probably voted, yo, tell them, let them know that you don't like the food. But anyway, that didn't even happen. And the thing is this, even though my feedback would have been negative, I wouldn't have did it in any like a nasty type of way. I wouldn't have did it in no way like give me the food for free or nothing like that. I didn't want nothing else from them, because I didn't even like the first thing that I got. The thing is this, since I didn't get a chance to give them feedback, and I'm not going to go on like Yelp or Open Table or Google or Facebook and leave them a negative review. I ain't got time for that shit. Most of the time when people deal with you and they don't like what you did, and this doesn't have to be a restaurant, this could be, listen, I got products and services that I sell. So if I offer a coaching session or a consulting session, or I sell you a book and you don't like it, or you don't really feel like you got your money's worth, and I don't ask you for feedback, how will I know that you didn't enjoy it? How will I know that you don't really feel like, what I gave you was that great? Like, how would I know if I don't ask? And if I don't ask, you're probably not going to just run up on me and offer it to me if I didn't ask you for it. So therefore, you got this idea in your mind that it wasn't that good, but at the same time, I didn't ask you for it, so you didn't get a chance to share your feedback. So what are you going to do? Well, you didn't like it, so you're not going to come back. You're not going to buy from me again. And now you've disappeared. And I'm like, damn, how did I have these 15 customers last month, but none of those 15 came back? What's the problem? I'm emailing you, trying to get you to come back and engage, but you don't want to engage because you didn't like it. But I don't know why you didn't engage, because I didn't ask the question, and you're probably, again, not going to offer it to me unsolicited. So I didn't ask for the feedback, so I didn't get it. So this is why feedback is so important, especially for those of you who are creators and you're putting yourself out there to the world. Not only do you need to take in the feedback, but first of all, you got to ask for it, because most people are not going to just tell you how they feel about you and your work unless you ask explicitly for the feedback. And when you ask for feedback, you need to be specific in what you're asking for. So if you're at a restaurant, ask people very simply, all right, what did you think of that dish? If you really want to get serious, you should be asking even better questions. You should be asking things like, what could have been better about what you ordered? Or if you're the manager, you come by after they paid their bill and all that, and after the server is done, they're not coming back to the table. The manager should be asking everybody, yo, how could my server have been better? How could my server have given you better service? How could they have done better at doing their job? So you can get some real, direct, honest feedback right there in the moment. Because again, most people ain't going on Facebook or Yelp and writing 6 paragraphs about their experience. And if they are, a lot of times by the time somebody gets around to doing that, they're leaving you feedback in a negative type of way. They're not leaving a positive feedback going on Yelp many times. I ain't saying everybody, but many times. Y'all get what I'm saying. So you have to, first of all, be willing to ask for the feedback. Second of all, be willing to listen to it. Third, and this should actually be second, but we'll just say third, You got to ask the right questions. The right questions are, all right, what about, I know this guy who writes books, one time he said he would have his friends look at his book before he puts the book out. He would ask them the following question: what part of this book, if you had to eliminate one chapter from the book, which chapter is the least valuable chapter in the book? Which one would you get rid of if you had to get rid of a chapter of the book? And that way he would get the feedback and know, like, what is the least useful part of this book. And he would say, if there's one chapter that you absolutely would not remove, what's the most valuable thing you got from the book? So now he knows what the most powerful thing is. But this is a matter of asking the right questions to get the right type of feedback. If he didn't ask the right question, he would never get that feedback. So you got to be willing to ask the right questions, be willing to listen to the answers, and then do something about the answers that you get. Most people don't do this, and this is a business. This is a business that I just came from, and I know for a fact they're paying a lot of money to lease the land where they have that business at. It is not cheap to be there. They can't afford to lose a potential customer. But I would be a potential customer. I would come back if, like, even if I didn't like the food. Check this out. If I didn't like the food and they come to the table, the waiter or the manager comes to the table, say, hey, how was your meal? And I give them my feedback, and they actually listen, and the manager's like, yo, I'm disappointed that you didn't like your experience there. I get what you said about the chicken and waffles, that it was whack. You know what? Next time you come here, mention my name, and your meal's gonna be comped on me, and we're gonna make sure you get the kind of experience that you want. We want you to try some of our other food so that you can see that, you know, what you got here today is not representative of what this business is about. You know what? I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back to get the free meal, if nothing else, and I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna try something else. Because I was eating, I was looking at other people's tables, and I was like, man, I should have ordered something else. I shouldn't have got this. I just ordered the wrong thing. Maybe they got something else that's good if they would have asked me the question. But he never asked the question, so I'm never gonna come back. If he would have asked the question and listened to what I said and made me an offer, I would have come back. I would have brought 3 other people with me, and if I liked the next time I came back, he would have remembered me, came over, shake my hand, whatever. Now what? Now you got a lifetime customer. Now I'm gonna keep coming back. Now I'm gonna keep telling my friends about you. Now you got somebody who's gonna keep buying from you. And this is something that, this shit adds up. You keep coming back to a restaurant. Now, how much money do you spend per person when you go to a restaurant? You're looking at $20 to $50 per person. If they drink, I don't drink, but if people drink, that's $50 per person. Drink itself is $15. If somebody get 2 drinks, that's 30 right there. The food's 20. Boom, there you go. Now multiply that by 4 people. That's a $200 check. And compared to nothing, because that person's not coming back, and any of their friends say, hey, Dre, how about this restaurant? I'm like, no, I went there. It was whack. They didn't even ask me for my feedback. Now that's money that you lost. That's a lifetime customer. Now imagine I come here once a year for 10 years. $200, because I'm bringing 3 people with me. $200 every year for 10 years. That's $2,000. All right, could that $2,000, multiply that by 50 customers who you might have the same experience with? Would that keep you in business? Would that be able to pay your lease? Would that help you pay your rent for your company? Would that be able to help you, survive another pandemic or something like that where you got to shut your business down? Would that help you hire another manager? Would that give you enough money to be able to hire another person in the back to wash dishes, or another server to make sure you don't get swamped during the rush hour? Like these kind of things add up over time. But if you're not asking a question and you're not thinking along these lines, then you will never get these things done. This is how people go out of business, because you're not asking the right questions and you're not willing to listen to the answers. And a lot of times people don't ask the questions because they don't want to hear the answers. They just want to process people. This is what this restaurant did. The waiter came to my table. He was like, all right, can I do anything else for you? That's what he said after they took the food off. He didn't ask about it. He said, can I do anything else for you? I said, no, just give me the check. He gave me the check. He never asked the question. And I didn't even give him 18% tip. I know some of y'all are like, well, we got to give people the tip even when they're not that good, because this is how they make their money. Well, shit, motherfucker, if this is how you make your money, then you better act like it. Because if I don't give good service at what I do in my business, ain't no tip. It's 0. All right, so the least you can get on the tip is not 18%. The least you can get is 0, because you didn't do a good job of what you're supposed to be bringing to the table. So that's what I want to give y'all about feedback. If you haven't got my book, The Mirror of Motivation, yet, go to the link down below, mirrorofmotivation.com. And if you haven't started the Bulletproof Mindset course, if you already got the book, the next step is the Bulletproof Mindset course. If you just go to mirrorofmotivation.com/BPM, that's Bulletproof Mindset, you can get it there. And I'll make sure when I remember, we'll add a link down below for the Bulletproof Mindset course if it's not already in there. That's the next step after you already got the Mirror of Motivation, you started reading the books, take the course. That's Bulletproof Mindset 2.0. All right, 2.0. You can get the manual 1.0. 2.0 is the next step of Bulletproof Mindset. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.